Hello, greetings, and salutations. Welcome aboard my podcast. I am Jason with Jay's Paradise Travels. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Iowa Hawkeyes, a team that is in the Big Ten and a team that I saw some years ago. Want to relate my experience to you. Before I get into that, though, just a little housekeeping. If you would like to go on vacation, maybe you want to go see a game yourself, perhaps see the Iowa Hawkeyes as well, or if you want to go on vacation, such as a cruise, which is my specialty, you can reach out to me in a couple different ways. One way is through social media. I have an Instagram account and a Facebook account. They're both the exact same thing for my business, Jay's Paradise Travels. It's the name of my business. That's Jays. There's no apostrophe in there. Jay's Paradise Travels. Again, that's on either Instagram or Facebook. Or you can reach out to me through email. I have an email address for my business. It's j.paradise@gmail.com. That's jay.paradise@gmail.com. Okay, so let's get into the episode. Again, I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Iowa Hawkeyes. This is going to be going back in time a little bit. I'm recording this in 2025, so I'm going back. That was 2017 that I went and saw him, so it's crazy to think about that. It's going on 8 years. It didn't seem like it was that long ago, but time does fly. It was actually the opening game that I went for the Iowa Hawkeyes. This particular trip that I went on was probably the most games I saw in that amount of time frame. I ended up seeing 4 games in 3 days. I don't think I have done that many games within that time frame ever before. The first 2 games were Thursday and Friday night games. One was in Green Bay. I saw the Packers, and the other was with the Wisconsin Badgers. I have a podcast on that, so please feel free to check that out and listen to that one. So Thursday was Green Bay. Flew into Green Bay, got to see the Packers game with some friends. The following day, we were able to borrow their car, take it down to Madison, Wisconsin, be able to see the Wisconsin Badgers for a night game in their opening day game, and then drove back. That night that we drove back, which was Friday night, Green Bay and Wisconsin, Green Bay and Madison isn't exactly next door. There is a little bit of a distance. So by the time we got back to our car, walked out of the stadium with the traffic, with the crowd, got to the car, dealt with game day traffic after the game, drove all the way back to our friend's home. We probably got in 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we had like the earliest flight out uh, Saturday morning to get ourselves over to Iowa. So I want to say I probably had only maybe a couple of hours of sleep. We got in at 2 a.m. and I think we were leaving at 4 a.m. ish to get to the airport on time for like a 6 o'clock flight. My poor wife. Uh, I know that was hard. She was with me. Those type of things I don't think she does anymore. Back then, she did it a few times with me, and I think she's kind of done with that now. It's even hard for me now too. But anyways, I did it back then and was able to. We flew from where we were at there in Green Bay. We flew to Chicago, and then from Chicago over to Iowa, which I believe we went into the Des Moines airport. Um, yeah, I think that's where we flew in. So, anyways, we flew into there and rented a car. From the airport, we went straight to the game. Iowa Hawkeyes, the University of Iowa, is in Iowa City, Iowa. Um, so we were able to get the car, drive out to that game, and get there in time for the game, which was nice. But we kind of got there by the time we drove there, did our best, find parking. We did park not too far from the stadium, which was nice. Walk up into it. It wasn't that long until the game started. We didn't get there super early, but we didn't get there late too, which was good. The first 2 games I was able to get seats for us together, but for this game, me and Selena, there was only single seats left, so I just got the ones that are the closest that I could get for the game. Um, Game was full. I expected that. Iowa is a Big Ten team, and opening day for any Big Ten team is gonna have a sold out crowd pretty much all the time anyway. Um, and I was kind of surprised in a way, like when we were driving around, that there was some stuff around. I was expecting kind of like just cornfields all over the place or something, just kind of country farmland all over. But there was actually a decent amount of stuff that was around the stadium and around the campus. Um, and we got there. Uh, I found my seats. Lena found hers. I was kind of like in the middle. I want to say, I mean, what was nice was I was on a sideline too. I always enjoy being on a sideline if I can be. And I want to say, what was I about? Like maybe 30-yard line ish, maybe 20, something to that effect. I was on the sideline. Um, which I was glad. Selena wasn't. I can't remember where she. I think we were in the same, but I was like just a little lower and she was a little higher. It was something to that effect. We weren't together, um, but we weren't too far either. And then after the game was done, um, we just got in our car and headed over towards Ames, Iowa, which is where the Iowa State plays. I'm going to talk about that in another podcast. But for this podcast, I'm just focusing on Iowa. I'm not combining the two. Even though I saw them both in the same day, I'm not going to combine them like I did the Wisconsin trip. I'm going to talk about each one separately. This one is going to focus on the Iowa Hawkeyes. So, yeah, opening game of the year. They were playing the Wyoming Cowboys. And the game started with no scoring. I'll put it that way. Nice atmosphere. It's going to be a Big Ten crowd. They're a big enough school where you go there and it's going to be a good atmosphere, and they love their football there. It's a good team. Um, we went there. I was right in the middle of like everybody. I was like, "Where's my seat?" But I was able to find my seat, as difficult as that was, and the people around me were nice, which I appreciated. And I may have even had, because I didn't have anything Iowa. I got this recently specifically for the podcast. This shirt that I'm wearing now. I didn't have anything Iowa. I want to say I had Michigan on, but I don't think anyone harassed me or gave me any problems with it at all, which I'm glad about. Um, then they were pretty helpful for me to get in my seat, even though it was like kind of like right in the middle of a row. And yeah, oh, excuse me, so you have to pass through 20 people. Anyways, I don't even know how I got on that. The game itself, I started talking about, yeah, no score at the beginning of the game, no score for the first quarter at all. I was thinking, okay, well, more than likely this isn't going to be too high scoring, and Iowa isn't exactly known for a high scoring offense. They've had some years that they've been okay with it. I think even last year they kind of improved, but more recently they've been really just solid on defense, and they kind of rely on their defense and their punting game uh, to their punter to kind of pin the opponent team inside like the 10-yard line or the 5 yard defense clamp down, and they just constantly play field position. They've kind of done that more recently. But there's been times that they've had a good offense. In fact, during the off season, a lot the last few years, I'll watch on YouTube some of uh, the championship run for Michigan during the '97 season, and I'll just go kind of game by game on a Saturday. And one of the games that they play is against Iowa, and Iowa in that game had a 21-7 lead at halftime. Michigan ended up coming back in the second half, beating them 20-24. But I remember for that year, they did have a high-powered offense, which to me was kind of funny to hear. Like, wow, Iowa had a high-powered offense. They were known back then in '97 for a high-powered offense. Uh, yeah, they were. Now I feel like they're more known for their defense, and their defense is always sound. They're always disciplined. Um, Kirk Ferentz does a good job of being able to keep them on point, doing exactly what they need to do. They very rarely make a mistake. So, with that being said, I don't think it was going to be a high scoring affair, and sure enough, it wasn't. Wyoming did kick a field goal to start the game, scoring. It was in the second quarter to go up 3-0. That ended up being their only point. Spoiler alert: they do lose the game. Their only points was that field goal, 3-0. They took a lead. Um, Noah Fant, who's actually did get drafted, was in the NFL. I have to look to see if he's still there. I think he is at the moment, but he ended up getting two touchdown passes to him in the second quarter to take a 14-3 lead going into halftime. And 14-3 lead for Iowa and their defense against a team that's not a Big Ten. It's not a high-powered offense. Well, I take that back. Wyoming might have been because of their quarterback, which I'll discuss a little bit. However, that's still kind of hard to overcome, especially in Kinnick. Um, in the third quarter, there was a nice 45-yard pass that we got to see, and that ended up being a touchdown, the third one of the game, to make it 21-3. And at that point, you know that they're not coming back. Um, Wyoming did tack on one field goal in the fourth quarter, just one. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Wyoming. No. It was Iowa. Tacked down one field goal. Yay, big offense there in the fourth quarter. Yeah, to make it 24-3, and that was the final. The Iowa Hawkeyes ended up winning 24-3 against the Wyoming Cowboys. Um, Being able to go to Kinnick Stadium, I thought was kind of cool because Kinnick was kind of known as like this house of horrors. And I know Michigan in the past, at least twice that I can think of in memory, that they had to go into Kinnick. If they could have just won the game, they would have either made the playoffs or years ago maybe won the Rose Bowl, helped with the national championship, all that stuff. Going to Kinnick, going to play Iowa on the road, they lose the game. Both were like last second field goals or something like that. And I remember even Ohio State going into Kinnick and getting blasted one year, and all my Michigan friends that are fans of them all texted me they were excited about them. I don't remember what the score was, but I remember Iowa did beat them pretty good that one year. That was one year. So I was kind of looking forward to going to Kinnick, see what is this House of Horrors, this very difficult, tough place that is very hard to play at. Um, I was excited to go see the stadium. The stadium itself on the outside, I thought would be kind of like maybe an older looking stadium, but it was actually kind of newer looking. They had this like I don't know, uh, silver metallic like look on the outside along with brick. Um, they have that their Iowa logo, the Hawkeye logo there. Um, it actually looked pretty sharp. I got to admit, on the outside, it looked pretty sharp, pretty nice to see. Um, and the attendance for it, the capacity of it. So it's a good sized building. It's about 69,250. That's the capacity. So that is a pretty good size. It's not a top one like Michigan Stadium, Ohio Stadium, and Tennessee that holds 100,000, but it's still a good size stadium, and they do pack it there. The attendance was 68,075, and I could definitely see that. Again, I had to like fight through a crowd to get to my seat. Looking around, I did see a pretty full stadium. Um, so I definitely don't argue with that. It was if it wasn't exactly sold out, maybe 1,000 less. Okay, I guess sure. Um, if they would have said it was full, I could have believed that too. It was a pretty packed stadium when I went. I like it when they've done it where they've had like because their colors are black and gold, um, where they stripe that out in different sections. I've seen that before. I think that's kind of cool. I don't think that's what happened when I went, but I've seen it before. And I think that's kind of cool. Um, so pretty cool for me to go see another Big Ten school and being able to go see Kinnick Stadium and all these stories how they're a house of horror. It was pretty cool to go see itself. Um, and then just some miscellaneous things about it. I thought it was interesting being able to go there and see the quarterback for Wyoming was Josh Allen, who is now the quarter at the moment again 2025 when I'm recording this is the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, and he's been a star in the league. I mean, just an absolute star. Haven't hasn't won the Super Bowl, hasn't gone that far yet, but has been a star in the league. I think he just married Haley Steinfeld. Um, so well known household name. He's out there. He played at Wyoming. I saw the dude live play in Wyoming against Iowa. Didn't even know it at the time. I mean, I kind of had heard his name, but to see what he's how he's built up his name since then and what he's done in the league, good for him. and marrying uh, Haley. Again, good for him. They really seem like they're in love from what I've seen. So he was, and then I was looking at the other quarterback for Iowa. His name was Nate Stanley. Does that sound remotely familiar to you compared to Josh Allen? To me, it didn't. I had to look him up to see. All right, what happened to Nate Stanley? Well, Nate Stanley was with the Vikings. I'm not sure if he was just on the practice squad or if he. I don't recall him ever being a starter for the Vikings. So whether or not he actually made the roster and got in the games at all, I don't entirely know. But apparently, from what I researched, looks like he has retired from the game of football, and uh, now he's like either teaching it or coaching it, something to that effect. So they were going against each other. Here was the stat line: Josh Allen, 23 for 40, 174 yards on an Iowa defense. That's pretty respectable. Two interceptions, no touchdowns, two interceptions. Not great, Bob. Not great. Nate Stanley, on the other hand, was 8 for 15. Now that does for 125. That does sound like an Iowa quarterback. Three touchdowns in that. He did have an interception, but three touchdown passes. So 3 out of 8 completions were touchdowns. That's pretty good. That sounds like Iowa. Nate Stanley head to head against Josh Allen. Uh, One had the better stat line, at least with touchdowns, anyways. But look at what happened going forward. Nate Stanley, a little bit on the Vikings, not in football anymore. Josh Allen, he's a stud in the NFL, a star player, household name, married Haley Steinfeld. It just, he came from this college in Wyoming, Wyoming Cowboys, who you may, depending on how big your fandom is of college football, you may or may not even have ever heard of Wyoming, or may not even be able to know where they're located in Wyoming. It's Laramie, Wyoming. And I don't even know if I'm saying that. Is it Laramie, Laramie? I don't even know if I'm saying it right. That's how they're not. It's not widely known. Wyoming is not this big school, but that's where Josh Allen came from. That's where we got to see play Iowa. Usually, those first games they schedule teams that are smaller or not as good, so they can get the win and work out some kinks and everything. And they did. Iowa did get the win, 24-3. But just to think about that, their starting quarterback has ascended himself this far is pretty amazing to me. Um, I had mentioned um, that for a memory of mine for Iowa, that '97 season Michigan played them. They were up 21-7 at halftime, but Michigan did come back and beat them 28-24 in that national championship run. um, so some of the memories I have because I am a Michigan fan. Iowa has been in my life for some years, and just the fact that they've been an opponent of Michigan. So I definitely have some memories of them. I actually had one time when I want to say we were in New York visiting, and a friend of mine, I had seen this like hoodie type sweatshirt thing that was blue and yellow. Um, and I got excited about it. And a friend of mine bought it for me because he knew I was going to a Michigan game, and I got to wear it around the city, but I also got to wear it to the Michigan game. This was years ago as a teenager. Well, anyways, one of my friends saw it, and I guess in the lighting of it, the blue was kind of darker, so it wasn't a Michigan. Just it wasn't Michigan. It was just the colors, uh, but it reminded me of it, and that's why I liked it. Anyways, but in certain lighting of it, the blue could look like black, and one of my friends was like, "What are you doing wearing Iowa stuff?" It's like this isn't Iowa. This is Michigan, and anyway, so that was a memory of mine when it came to Iowa. Since then, I've actually worked for Michigan, and Iowa did come to town some years ago and played Michigan and played them hard. Michigan won, but it wasn't by much. 10-3 was the score. I mean, if that's not a an Iowa type score with their defense and everything, I don't know what is. Now, Michigan has played Iowa more recently too, in a few years in a row. Starting in 2021, they played them in the Big Ten championship game, which I mean, this was a good memory for me. I'm sure Iowa fans not so much, because it was the first time Michigan finally made it to the Big Ten championship after finally getting over the hump of beating Ohio State and making the Big Ten championship game. They were playing Iowa and they ended up winning the 42-3, 49-3, something like that. I mean, they just crushed them. The following year, they played them in Kinnick, And now when they played him in Kinnick, now I'm like, okay, I've been to Kinnick. I've seen what Kinnick is like. I've been. I know the surrounding area. I know what it looks like on the outside and the inside and all that stuff. Now I know what they're playing, and they did win that one too. I want to say that one was like 28-7 or something to that effect. Um, and then the following year again, they played Iowa again in the Big Ten championship in 2023. They ended up beating them 20-0 or something to that effect. They ended up shutting them out again. Iowa, just their offense was hardly an offense. They really relied on their defense and their punting, and just took advantage of that. They had just enough offense, but once Michigan scored like a field goal or something like that, I think Iowa fans knew, all right, we're not coming back or something like that. Anyways, nice people though. I've never had an issue. Like I said, when I went there and I was wearing Michigan stuff, they never harassed me. Anytime I've been around Iowa fans in the big house, when they did come, they were fine. No one ever acted like an idiot. So I appreciate that about them. Nice fan base. But really, they really do like their team. They're passionate about their team, and I appreciate that about them. And so I was glad as I was able to go visit them. I'm gonna save, I guess you could say, the best for last of something I wanted to talk about. So Iowa has this tradition that after the end of the first quarter, there's a lot of teams have different traditions. Like Wisconsin, at the end of their first quarter or after the third quarter, between the fourth, they do the jump around. That's their tradition. And South Carolina has what's it called? Sandstorm. Michigan even does something at the end of the third quarter too. All kinds of teams do have their little things that they do maybe in between a quarter. Iowa has a unique one where right next to the stadium is a children's hospital. And when the end of the first quarter happens, before the second quarter, everyone like the entire audience, the fans, the players, coaches, everyone just kind of looks up at those kids and they just wave to them. They just wave, and the kids will be watching the out the window, and you'll see them wave. It's a really touching scene, very touching. Something bigger than a sport, something bigger than just a game. Human lives are important, right? And the fact that these kids are going through a lot, uh, they're waving at them. Nice gesture, really touching. The game that I went to was the first ever game that they did that. That's where they started the tradition. That game that year, I was there for that. However, I forgot my allergy medication on this trip. I get bad allergies. So annoying. So first quarter, I'm sneezing, I'm suffering, I'm getting through the quarter, and I'm like, all right, I can't take this anymore. I got to go blow my nose. Stupid allergies. So I go to the bathroom to blow my nose and take care of my allergies. Didn't know that was going to happen. Didn't know what was going on. Anything. Come back. It was all done. Missed it completely. My one and only time in Iowa, and a tradition that I think is very commendable, very respectful, just a truly class act. And it's like, I missed it because of my allergies, my darn allergies. I hate my allergies. And I don't think I'm going back to Iowa. Who knows, maybe one day, but I never say never, I suppose. But there's no plans to go back. Usually, when I go see a team, I see them once, and that's pretty much it. Unless I'm just in the area and the circumstances allow it. But to go from Michigan to Iowa, it's not exactly driving down to Ohio or out to Indiana. It's a far distance, and so I don't think I'll go back. So the one time I got to go, I missed it. I missed that. That would have been pretty nice to do. Okay, well, I'll do it now. If in the off chance anyone from Iowa or in that children's hospital is hearing this podcast, looking at my podcast, watching it, here, I'm waving to you now. Anyway, so that's a pretty cool thing. I think that's very unique. And if you ever do want to go to an Iowa game, definitely be in your seat and be there for that. That's for sure. Because I think that is a very nice tradition to be a part of. Even if you're not a fan of Iowa, even if you're not part of the home team or the if you're part of the road team. I remember when Michigan went in 2022, JJ McCarthy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely waving at him," and sure enough, he did. He was out there waving. Entire team was. They were part of that. So that's something that again can transcend the rivals, right? Anyone can be a part of that little tradition. That's a nice tradition. So if you do get to go, be sure to be in your seat. Don't go to the bathroom at the end of the first quarter like I did, or get some concessions. Be there to wave at them because I think that's really nice. And if you do want to go, if that is something that does interest you to be able to go see the Iowa Hawkeyes at Kinnick Stadium, let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you with that. Or any other vacation. Of course, as I always like to mention, cruises is my specialty, so I'd be more than happy to help you with that. Cruises, going to a game, going to Iowa, see them, any of it, let me know. My email address is j.paradise_travels@gmail.com, jay.paradise_travels@gmail.com. You can reach out to me through email, or you can reach out to me through social media, Instagram, Facebook. Both handles are the same. Jay's Paradise Travels. Jays, Jay's Paradise Travels. I also got some pictures on there. You can look at some pictures of my travels as well. And again, either one, I'd be more than happy to help you out with that. It was nice weather when we went. Of course, it was beginning of September too. Um, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to go. I enjoyed being able to say I saw them, be able to see Kinnick Stadium. And I think you would too if you ended up going, if you allow me to book it for you. If you did like this video, please like it on the channel and subscribe to the channel as well. Uh, Feel free to leave a comment. I'll be sure to answer back. I do like to make mention you can leave a comment either positive or negative if you have some experience with Iowa. Maybe you didn't like that you went there and they beat your team or something. I don't know. Whatever the case is, maybe you're a Michigan fan. You remember some of those last second field goals that ended up derailing Michigan at the end of the season or something. But positive or negative, you can leave it. But again, this is a travel podcast, not a sports podcast. So please keep it clean. Please don't attack another person or fan base or a team. If it's an experience that's something you remember as negative, that's okay. But don't go after someone. That we're not looking for that. Keep it clean. But feel free to leave something. I'd be more than happy to respond to you back on that. And all those things that help keep a podcaster going. Please do rate, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Share with others because I'm trying to get my name out there. Jay's Paradise Travels as a business too. It's not just something I do for fun. As this podcast, it is part of the business of letting you know what my experiences is. Hopefully, it'll whet your appetite, want to go, and allow me to be your travel agent. My goal is to make the world a happier place, one vacation at a time. So I would love to be your personal travel agent as well as your family and friends. So feel free to share with others and look forward to talking to you again another time next week. Take care and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.